You get dressed in the morning, pull on a fitted shirt, glance at the mirror, and honestly, you think you look fine. Maybe even pretty lean. But the whole story changes the moment that shirt comes off. Standing shirtless in a changing room or out by the pool, all of that flattering structure just vanishes. Your chest has no edge to it, no clean line where the muscle ends and the rest of you begins. Your arms might fill out a sleeve well enough, but bare, they look smooth and shapeless. Meanwhile, you can pinch a soft roll right around your midsection, those stubborn love handles that cling on no matter how many diets or gym phases you've cycled through. And here's the part that really stings. When you drop down for a quick set of push-ups or help a friend carry a couch up a flight of stairs, it feels far harder than it should for someone who isn't even carrying much weight. If any of that sounds familiar, I want you to take a breath, because nothing about your body is broken. You simply belong to a very particular physical category, and it has a name. It's called skinny fat. The slightly more technical term researchers use is normal weight obesity, and the idea is straightforward. The number on your scale looks completely healthy, but the ratio of fat to muscle underneath that number is quietly out of balance. And the reason you've stayed stuck here is not laziness or bad genetics. It's that nearly all the mainstream fitness advice floating around online is calibrated for a completely different starting point than yours, which means following it actually pushes you in the wrong direction. Think about what most people do the moment they decide they're out of shape. The first reaction is pure panic, and panic move number one is the crash diet. Carbs get branded as the enemy overnight. Rice, bread, pasta, even fruit get tossed out, and the daily calorie count drops off a cliff. Then comes panic move number two, which is piling on punishing cardio. Long runs, brutal sprint intervals, sweat-soaked sessions that leave you crawling out of the gym wondering why you signed up for this. Here's what that combination actually does to a skinny fat body. When you slash your food intake hard and hammer yourself with cardio at the same time, your body doesn't read the situation as time to get lean. It reads it as a genuine emergency, as if resources have suddenly become scarce, and it responds by conserving everything it possibly can. The problem is that muscle tissue is metabolically expensive. It costs energy just to keep it around. So in that survival state, your body starts breaking muscle down for fuel right alongside the fat. The end result is not the toned, athletic look you were chasing. You just get smaller. You become a more compact version of the exact same soft shape you started with. Same problem, just less of it. What you actually need is to do two things at once that sound like they contradict each other. You need to build new muscle while you burn off stored fat. This is called body recomposition, and for someone in your situation, it is the entire game. Picture renovating a house room by room, swapping out the bulky, worn-out furniture for sleeker, sturdier pieces without ever packing up and moving out. The address stays exactly the same. The structure inside transforms completely. Here's how that's even possible. By feeding your body roughly the amount of energy it needs to function and no more, you nudge it to dip into its fat reserves to cover the gap, while the protein you eat gets routed toward constructing fresh muscle fibers. Fat goes out as fuel, and muscle comes in as structure. And if you're fairly new to structured training, you're sitting on an enormous time-limited advantage. People in the field sometimes call this newbie gains. Your muscles are extremely sensitive to the stimulus of lifting because they have never been challenged this way before, which makes the dual process of losing fat and gaining muscle dramatically easier for you than it would ever be for a seasoned athlete. An experienced lifter usually has to pick one goal at a time. You get to do both at once. But that window does not stay open forever, which is exactly why starting now matters so much. The whole thing hinges on getting one number roughly right, and that's how much you eat. You should not be force-feeding yourself to bulk up, and you should not be starving yourself to cut down. Your target is to eat right around your maintenance calories, the amount that keeps your weight stable, or to sit in a very mild deficit, somewhere around 10 to 15% below that maintenance level. That's it. It's a gentle nudge, not a punishment. Eating at that level gives your body enough fuel to keep building, while still leaving a small energy gap that quietly pulls from your fat stores. Now think of this as a construction project. You are demolishing soft fat and raising solid muscle in its place, essentially rebuilding your frame from the studs out. And no construction project ever gets finished without raw materials. The single most important material here is dietary protein. Protein supplies the amino acids your body literally assembles into muscle tissue. Without enough of it, the training stimulus has nothing to build with, and you're effectively asking the crew to put up a wall with no bricks. A solid, evidence-backed target is roughly 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day, a figure that came out of a large analysis of protein and resistance training studies led by researcher Robert Morton. For a lot of people, that lands somewhere between 100 and 150 grams a day. Diet culture has somehow convinced everyone that hitting your protein means a grim parade of dry chicken breast and plain steamed broccoli eaten cold out of a plastic container. That is a myth, and it's a myth that quietly makes people quit. You can hit your numbers with almost no effort and actual flavor. A bowl of Greek yogurt, a few scrambled eggs, a scoop of protein powder blended into a shake, cottage cheese, a tin of tuna, lentils, a glass of milk. You don't need to become a chef, and you don't need to sentence yourself to bland food forever. You just need to make small, deliberate swaps across your day, choosing the higher protein option whenever one exists, so the building site never runs short on supplies. You also don't have to suffer to lose the fat. Instead of brutal cardio, your most reliable fat loss tool is almost embarrassingly simple. It's walking. Aim for somewhere between 7,000 and 10,000 steps a day. Walking slots into your life with almost no friction. You can pace the room during a phone call, take the stairs instead of the lift, park a little farther from the door, or take an easy stroll after dinner. Crucially, it burns a meaningful number of calories without spiking your appetite the way hard cardio does, and without draining the energy you need for lifting and recovery. There's also a growing body of research linking daily step counts in this range to better long-term health and a lower risk of early death, so it's quietly doing real work far beyond fat loss. To actually build the muscle, you need a principle called progressive overload. Think of it like a video game. Every session you bank a little experience, and over time you level up. In practice, it just means that each week you ask your body to do a fraction more than the week before. One extra repetition, a slightly heavier dumbbell, 5 more pounds on the bar, or simply a cleaner, more controlled rep than last time. That steadily climbing demand is the signal that tells your muscles they have no choice but to grow stronger and bigger to keep up. Without that progression, your body has no reason to change at all. You don't need to live in the gym either. 2 to 4 lifting sessions a week, built around the big compound movements like squats, hinges, presses, rows, and pull-ups, is genuinely plenty. Then you have to let your body actually do the building, and that happens almost entirely while you sleep. Aim for at least 7 hours a night. Sleep is when growth hormone is released, when the stress hormone cortisol settles back down, and when the real repair and construction of new muscle tissue takes place. This is not a soft self-care suggestion. There's a well-known study led by researcher Arlit Nedelcheva in which dieters were restricted to around 5.5 hours of sleep, and the proportion of weight they lost as fat dropped sharply while they lost significantly more muscle instead. Cut your sleep short and you are quietly sabotaging the exact recomposition you're working so hard for. Notice the shape of all this. There is no boot camp anywhere in it. There's no part where you destroy yourself daily. Walk a little more, lift slightly heavier over time, eat enough protein, and sleep properly. These are quiet, low-friction habits that hum along in the background of an ordinary life, and that is precisely why they actually work. Sustainability is the thing that delivers results, and these habits are sustainable in a way a punishing boot camp never will be. Here's something that will save you a lot of frustration along the way. Picture a balance scale with a small, dense cube of muscle on one side and a big, fluffy cloud of fat on the other, and imagine they weigh exactly the same. Muscle is far denser than fat, so a pound of it takes up noticeably less space. This is why your bathroom scale can sit completely still for weeks while your waistband loosens and your shoulders fill out. You are swapping volume for volume in a way the scale simply cannot see, so the number lies to you. Because of that, stop letting one number on a scale run your mood. Track the signals that actually reflect what's happening instead. Notice how your shirts begin to pull a little tighter across the shoulders and chest while going loose around the waist. Run a tape measure around your waist every couple of weeks, And take a photo in the same light, the same spot, and the same pose once a week, because change this gradual is invisible day to day, but obvious across 2 months of side-by-side pictures. Pay attention to strength too. Those push-ups that felt brutal in week 1 getting genuinely easier is hard, undeniable proof that real muscle is being built underneath. One last thing, and it might be the most important point in this entire video. This is a slow process, and it rewards consistency far more than it rewards intensity. Sticking to your plan around 80% of the time, steadily across 6 months will produce a change that the people around you actually notice and comment on. Chasing 100% perfection, on the other hand, almost always backfires. One missed workout or one off-plan meal starts to feel like total failure. And that all-or-nothing mindset is exactly what makes people quit by week 3. Aim for good and repeatable, not perfect and fragile. You didn't develop the skinny fat look in a single weekend, and you're not going to undo it in one either. But the path out of it is genuinely calmer than the one you've probably been told to walk. By patiently walking, lifting a little heavier each week, feeding your body real protein, and actually letting yourself rest, you will slowly dismantle that soft, shapeless physique and replace it with something leaner, denser, and more athletic. Your body was never broken. It was just waiting for the right set of instructions. If this finally made the skinny fat puzzle click for you, drop a comment telling me which habit you're starting with first, whether that's the walking, the protein, or the sleep, because committing to it out loud genuinely makes you more likely to follow through. Subscribe so the next videos land in your feed, and from here, go watch my breakdown of exactly how to structure your first week of lifting and the one on the highest protein foods that don't taste like cardboard. I'll see you in the next one.